This video begins a series where I'll be looking at my Gelli prints to use on scrapbook layouts. We'll be evaluating some Gelli prints that I've already made and then making some Gelli prints intentionally to match certain photos so that I can use them on my scrapbook layouts. There's a second part to this video and there'll be videos for each of the scrapbook layouts that I use Gelli prints on.
Hi, it's Lisa. I'm going to be doing some Gelli printing today with my eye on doing layouts with some of these photos. So I thought I could get some of these out and then I could kind of know what colors and styles that I was looking for. And I'm also going to look through some of my existing Gelli prints to see what I already have. This was the art museum in our state in Raleigh, and we went to an exhibit back in January, and the main exhibit, the Escher exhibit, you could not take photographs of, but I took a photograph of my favorite painting from Thomas Moran that's on their permanent collection, and then we just took a few other photos. So most of this is, rust colors, browns, a very wintry kind of look there. And I think art museums are really well suited for the Gelli prints. This one is the High Museum of Art in Atlanta, and these photos are a couple of years old. They're a lot more modern. So that's going to be kind of a different look. You never know with Gelli prints how things are going to come out. You can kind of start with some colors and just see. So I don't know for certain if I'll get what I really want for these, but I may. These two photos were taken at a beach obviously near, well, several hours from where we live. But it's not the beach we normally go to, but it's typically my memory of this beach, it's been 25 years since I've been there until recently, my memory of it's been very, very crowded because I was always there in the summer. We happened to be there in March. It wasn't a pleasure trip. We had a family emergency and had to go down, but I did walk on the beach and I did take a couple of pictures, and I wanted a pretty somber kind of layout, just everything turned out okay, but it wasn't, as I say, a pleasure trip. So I want to capture what happened, and I want to just sort of have this more somber or serene background to this. It's not a fun, sunny, happy page kind of thing for the beach. So, and there again, I think the Gelli prints can give me that kind of look. Now this one is very different, and it's very bright colors, very happy page of my mother and I at the Biltmore house. They now allow photographs, so you'll see more photographs coming along in my layouts later on, but for now I just have pictures of the two of us that I want to scrap. And I didn't have anything in my paper collections that really fit all of these wild colors that we're wearing. So there again, we might do the Gelli prints. And Gelli printing, that kind of look is very much my mother. So I'm going to start going through these. I had all these Gelli prints that I had accumulated, and I was having trouble sorting through them every time. I bought a vertical file back in the winter when they were on clearance. The office supply stores tend to have these for the first part of the year, and then I guess they mark them down. And I organized then by color within the vertical file. So I have some thinner papers that are on tissue paper and stuff, like that, which is pretty. And then I have some that are more on the regular paper, and that's probably the ones that's what I have the most of, and that's kind of the ones I'm going to go through here and see if there are ones that I think work for these different photos. So I'll do a little bit of that, and then we'll get to Gelli printing. Like that's not bad. So I'm going to have the keep and the not keep.
So I have the photos kind of over there to the side as I go through these. The pink section there I didn't really feel like matched any of my photos, but now this orange, I had a lot of things that matched. And these were printed mostly on cardstock, though I do have some that were printed on deli paper as well.
Let's take first the beach pictures. Like this is too dark, but I really like the swirl design on this sort of bluish yellow background, or bluish white background here. I think that's really neat. I also really like just this white and gray, or white and silver, even as snowflakes, I don't want snowflakes, but some kind of design. So these are giving me some ideas for what I want to do with the Gelli plate. There's another swirly design. That's not too bad. The blue is just, blue purpley color is a little bit too much. And I really like the idea of doing it on deli prints. This one's not bad at all with the blue and stuff, especially put that on a white background. But I think it's got a little too much sparkle to it. Probably uses pearl paints. So I need to maybe tone that down a little bit. So it does give me some ideas of what I want, but I don't think they're quite the right thing for the beach pictures. And then some of these others, you know, look good, but they're still not quite what I'm looking for. I pulled this one out, I think, for that. That's not really the right thing, but it's a pretty design. All right, and several of these kind of go with this art ones, especially this one, because I think I'm wearing like a purple sweater, dark purple sweater, so I really like this. So I might take these colors and kind of go with that and do some more prints that would work with it, or I might just, you know, cut up some of the prints that I have here. There was one, this one, that was really attractive with these. So I've got several prints, so I probably won't concentrate on these colors very much because I already have a lot of stuff that I think I could use. I might do something more with them, but I got a lot of stuff there that I kind of like. All right, and then I don't, surprisingly, have a lot of stuff for this museum in Atlanta. I thought I did. I thought I'd pulled out papers once before for it, and maybe I did. Maybe I used them for something else. I don't know. But I think I want to work with some silver in this too. You can see the glass and the splattered paint on it, and some of the silver things here. So I think I want to work with some silver with this too. And that may mean just pulling out some silver cardstock. So, and I didn't really find anything much to go with these, so I don't know for sure what I'm going to do with those at this point, but I think I want to try maybe a little bit more silver with this, and especially to find something to go with these photos in the lighter color. So I'm just going to work on some jelly prints that I think will work with these using some tissue paper, jelly print paper, and some different kinds of medium. So I'm going to start with the beach ones, and I have pulled a couple of pearl paints and a solid green that doesn't have any of that pearl kind of look, some silver, a grayish from Distress Paint, this is Weathered Wood, and then just some regular gray paints. So we're going to try some of those. For stencil material and ways to make texture, one of the things I have is this board where I just hot glued a bunch of odd chipboard pieces. I went through and cleaned up my chipboard, and I had all these really interesting little round shapes, so I glued those on first, added the brackets, and then I filled in the spaces with the little things that come out of the middle of letters. A lot of times when you have letters in your chipboard or odd shapes left over, and so I just glued that up, and then I'll make some texture. And I have some other stencils here. This is the swirly stencil, I think, that was in one of the ones that I liked, that I kind of want to emulate. And then this is left over from chipboard where, you know, you've punched out all the pieces and you have a little bit left, and I think that'll make a beautiful design as well. So let's start with some of these paints.
The Martha Stewart pearl paints are going to give me some glimmer here, as well as that silver paint from Golden. It doesn't take very much of that, just a little bit. But now they don't stay wet really long, so you typically get like one pass, and that's about it with those. Using deli paper, this is dry, like dry wax paper. If you'd like to experiment with some of these types of papers, I do have some of these for sale over on my Etsy shop, packs of things that include deli paper and tissues and different things that you can use them for on your jelly printing or other crafting. Because they're really thin papers, they work well like over this stencil where I kind of press in between the different parts of the stencil. But as I say, these particular paints don't stay wet very long, so they don't make good second pulls. Now we're going to try some different kinds of paints, including some distress paint. I've got some brown in there, trying to look for a sand kind of color. And that that I'm using for texture is actually from, I think it was a pack of cookies or candy or something. Some of the wrappings and packaging can really make some interesting textures. And you get a feel for how that's looking when you put it on a white background. And now we have some pearl paints and silvers together here, and using some other stencils. Little circle stencil from, I think it's from Studio Calico. I've had that thing forever. It's one of my most used stencils. And then that round one is the 50s clock stencil from Crafter's Workshop. That big swirl stencil was also from Crafter's Workshop. That's pretty. It might be a little bit too much brown.
Okay, let's take a look at these with the photos. I think this is gorgeous, but it's the wrong color because it's got brown in it and our beach sands are more gray. So that's not really a good color. This one isn't bad, but it's awfully subtle. This was one I did early on, and it looks really good with the photos. And here's another one in similar colors. I think it was the first one I did. That also looks good with the photos. It's got a lot more shine to it. I think I like this one because it's darker. And let's see, here was another one that was really pretty. It's got the swirls. But again, it's got, well, I think that's the one we've already looked at. That one's got the brown in it. Here's another one that has the browns and greens. And then this was just sort of leftover stuff. But that's not bad. Let's take this one and let's put it on like a 12 by 12 and see how we might arrange our photos. And we need something at the bottom. Do something like this. To do maybe a couple of layers to darken it up. Fold it up. Do some extra there. I'd forgotten about this one. The leftover stuff. That's kind of fun too. Sort of crinkling that up. But I wonder if I do something else with this one. And I think this one was the gray paint and this paint and the silver. Let's see if we can get something else with those for the bottom of this.
So we're using a very flat Liquitex paint and some pearl paint and some silver, so we got a mix of some glimmer and some not so glimmery kinds of looks. And we're going to go do a couple of different versions here with different stencils. And then at the end I'll show you these laying on some white background. This one and the other one I had a while ago are going to be, or not this particular one, but the next one I do, and the one I had a while ago are going to end up being the ones that I use for this layout. And then of course the extras will just get filed away for other projects coming down the road. And there is a video that goes with this that I'll link up when I have that made available on my YouTube channel. Be sure and stay tuned for part 2 where we do some more jelly printing.